Hey guys, it's Jaxon. I wanted to give a quick little editor's note before the podcast started saying this episode is kind of heavier and definitely deals more with politics, which is something we don't typically talk about, but this is also something that isn't really politics. It's basic human nature. Not only that, but it affects everyone around the US, mostly women, of course. That being said, we do have people in our lives that will be affected by it that we love and care about. I also want to point out that there is a point where I talk about the Supreme Court voting, and it's actually 6-3, not 5-4. Other than that, though, I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Welcome to Coming Up for Air, an introspective podcast. I am your co-host, Jaxon.
I'm your co-host, Brendan. What it is, what it do.
Welcome back. Hope you guys are doing well. I know it's a little hard in these times, but I hope everything's going well for you guys. It's going to be a little bit of a different episode, but for now, let's hop straight into our check-in. Brendan.
Yeah, man. I feel like I've talked about this the past couple, I don't know, I might be tripping. Might have talked about it last intro, but I just kind of wanted to talk about us, or at least me so far. I know Jaxon probably feels the same way, but realizing that you guys who listen has kind of given us a bigger voice than I thought we would have, especially off rip. I definitely know that me and Jaxon are some of the people who at least in my life, I know can make very big change. I've seen both of us have completely changed a lot of people's lives, and for the better, and not whole savior type change life, but it's just more of
fix him.
More of just a genuinely helping someone down the right path and with their goals and different things like that, and we just provide good energy, and people always, I feel cling to us, and with that, it's been kind of eye-opening to see all of these people and feedback, and I've had people hit me up and be like, what you guys have is really special, it's really cool to see. I really like hearing you speak, yada yada, this and that, and I don't know, it just means a lot, genuinely. I appreciate y'all.
Same goes here.
Yeah, bro, love you guys from the bottom of my heart, genuinely. Y'all have no idea. And it's kind of opened my eyes and all right, bro, you got to pick your shit up. You know what I mean? This has the potential and already has become something. You know what I mean? And we made that decision when we decided to start the podcast, and it's time to go just
dummy.
Yeah, bro, time to go stupid. You know what I mean? We got to, so I appreciate you all genuinely.
I want to talk about getting to see AJR more widely, more getting to go to a concert. But I got to see AJR live. A friend took me as an early birthday present. Very Pog 10. Love it.
When is your birthday? I'm so sorry.
July 20th.
Oh, soon.
Yeah.
Soon. I'll be slacking on homie's birthday.
No, it's okay.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
But it was super cool. It was super great to see a concert again. I used to be in the production industry, so I used to work concerts and do all that stuff and work shows. So I'm really I love looking at the lights and seeing the different effects that they have, and looking at video walls and the interesting stuff that they do. And AJR is some of the smartest performers I've ever seen when it comes to the way that they handle a show. They control a crowd. Their lighting is really, really smart and intuitive. So is the way that they use modern technology, video walls and stuff, and those techniques. They do one of their songs. I can't remember what it is right now, but they do
fart.
Yeah, they do this song, and it's Jack walking on a video wall, basically. He's on a treadmill that is right in front of the video wall, and the background is coordinated to the music, and so it looks like he's walking on a desk because it shows the background moving with him.
Oh, that's hard.
And then he catches stuff, and then they have parts where he catches a cork, and then somebody actually throws a cork out at the same time with the video wall, and so it actually lands in his hand. And they do all these really, really intuitive, smart things that are
look
with
really
the
dope.
show. Yeah. That are genius. And they also talk about a little bit of mental health stuff at the end of the show. I don't know why I said podcast.
All good things.
But it's really cool. And I think that they're some of the leading people in what concerts can really become and what technology really allows for us to do in that type of environment and stuff.
Just depends on how much money people want to drop on their own concerts.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Also, whenever the song, what is it? Fuck.
I believe in you.
It's how does it go? It's come on guys, everything will be alright.
Use your thinking face.
Any other way?
I hate you.
Dude, I can't think of how it goes, but it's literally like, it's funny how we vote for someone to vote for someone. What do you mean? Well,
you can't look at me for help. I don't listen to them.
Whatever. There's a point in that song where the music cuts, right? And it's basically, the line is, but there's one thing that I know, if you're fucking racist, then don't come to my show. And like the lights basically cut for a second and then go to the crowd. So it goes light stage, then house lights. And it's like 10,000 people at the show, all screaming this line. And it's never like, it was awesome. It's like such a cool little,
love to see it. Bunch of good humans all together.
Love it. It was super. Well, we knew some of them humans, and some of them, yeah.
Hello, all right, people.
Yeah, that's a word for it. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. So that's our kind of like moment of brevity. Cause
about the upside of the
yeah. So, I'm gonna touch on one more brevity thing. It's Brendan's AC is out right now, so it's really fucking hot in this room.
Yeah, bro, it's about 87 degrees in my crib right now.
So I promise that the topic we're touching on today isn't that we don't care or anything, and we will definitely have it be a normal length episode. But if we seem like we're rushing, it's because it's super fucking toasty.
Yeah, but should I get damn near booty bone naked to talk as long as we can about this shit?
So
I'll strip on camera for this shit, bro.
It is June 27th, 2022. This is important because it is a day or two after the Roe v Wade was overturned in the Americas.
It's a sad week in America, man.
Yeah, I dropped this pen twice. Jesus Christ, I literally have it for notes. Go ahead. Thank you.
I hate you. I hate you so much.
Anyway, since the Roe v. Wade was overturned, and for those who don't know or who don't live in America and haven't heard yet, Roe v. Wade is basically the right for women to get abortions in America. It was a federal decree, which basically meant that all states had to follow it. When it comes to this, that does mean that like there's a federal mandate too. So I think that it was passed 4 months or something like that, and I can't remember the exact week time for that. It's like 32, 50. No, not 32. 40 something weeks or something like that. It's some amount of weeks. There reaches a point where you can no longer get an abortion, and that's what the law was basically. And by that point, you probably more or less know whether or not you want to have this child. Obviously, circumstances change, so on and so forth. And that was overturned, and now it is a statewide policy. So your state it's a state. So your state is responsible for their legislation on whether or not abortion is legal or illegal. We live also in a state where it is going to be illegal. There's a couple things that we want to cover before we dive super heavy into this. This is obviously a very touchy topic, and we are two males.
Yeah, I was about to say, bro, we're two men who, at the end of the day, our opinions genuinely don't mean shit.
No.
In the sense of we have no opinion nor any say on what happens with a woman's body, let alone any other human being. You know what I mean?
Nor should we.
And yeah, nor should we. And yeah, we do have our part in creating life, but as soon as we do take that step,
as soon as our seed's gone, it is not.
Yeah, it's not our decision. Yeah, we
don't carry that.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's not to say that like, yeah, everyone's entitled to your opinion. Doesn't mean that your opinion fucking matters on that shit, bro. Like, once you decide to take that step, bro, it is now in the woman's hands of her own body. It is her own body. Whatever she decides to do with it at the end of the day is on her.
And we'll get more into that in a little bit, but I want to tear through some of these disclaimers. It is talking about abortion, and there's going to be some other topics that teeter into this conversation due to the manner of what this impacts and what this means for women or just people as a whole or America as a whole.
Yeah, I was about to say where America's at.
Yeah, you know? And that means that we will touch on some things that are a little touchy. Not that we haven't already really, but it's more as a warning of like there are going to be things that are uncomfortable in a more real circumstance rather than just our experiences or advice. We also I've done some research, so we have some references. We also have both collectively talked to the women in our life,
about how they feel.
To kind of get some outside voices as well, and some people who actually should have a say in this and have more of a needle on the nose for this.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all my disclaimers. This also is one of the rare episodes that will be heavily political, obviously. For the most part, I don't think our intent is to dive really into politics a whole lot, but I think that there are things that call for it.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I don't know, as much as, you know, women are coming out and, you know, speaking their opinion. Yeah, just think what that is like men definitely have to come out and you know, protect your females, bro. Like, this is such a huge turning point backwards, you know?
I don't even think that that's a good mindset to have. I don't think that it's protect your women. I think it's just protect people. Like, protect women, period. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I'm speaking obviously like into those people who are like, you know, like think about your moms, think about your aunties, your fucking, you know,
the people in your life that you care about.
Like think about, you know, the females in your life that have been impacted, and like, you know, if you got little sisters, if you do have a daughter, like it's so much deeper, and you know, it just opens up a huge fucking wound.
So with that, I think it's time that we dive into our main topic, Roe V Wade being overturned. So obviously we kind of already touched on it, but Roe v. Wade is the federal action of abortions being allowed in America. And then it is overturned, which implies that it is now a state jurisdiction on whether or not abortions are legal or illegal, which means that there is a lot of wiggle room on where you go and everything of like, it is not set in stone of whether or not you are in a safe place, effectively. And it is something that is extremely relevant all throughout America. But it is also something that is really potent for us because we live in a state that is going to be directly affected by it because of the fact that it is now going to be illegal. Why? And I want to kind of touch on why we're talking about it because, as we said at the start of the podcast, we're two males. We are two 20 age, you know, males in their 20.
Yeah, young men
who, in all fairness, really don't have any fucking right to speak on this. I think that it's important that we talk about this because there needs to be. In our last episode, Brendan likes to say this a lot, which is like the voice for the voiceless. And I like it, but I don't think that that's what this is right now because it's very clear that women have a voice. You know, they always have. And we're not trying to be that. It's more, I think in my mind, this is more of a call out to men who are against it or people who are against it of like, get your head out of your ass.
Yeah, bro, and for me, like, just as much as it is like a call out, it's the same thing as like, if you haven't thought about it affecting your own people, like, wake the fuck up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, as a man, as men, we have to step up and be able to not only support, but, you know, help all the women out there that need it. You know what I mean? And continuously protect them.
And I still think that's a bad mindset. I don't think, and I know you don't mean it like this, but the mindset of protect them is really bad.
Why do you say that?
That immediately implies that they're not able to take care of themselves.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel you, but for me, it's just more of like men do already do so much harm and already do so much damage in this world and we already don't step up as men to, like, you know, check all the shitty ass men that are out there. And this is just another step into, like, hey, bro, like, there's a lot of shit that's, like, out of our control. And
yeah, like, and this is why this is why I called you out, to make sure that you specify.
Oh, yeah, no, I feel you, because there's, like, instances, and I don't mean, like, protect, like, oh, we have to be, like, you know, like, oh, like, step up, like, blah, blah, blah. It's more of, like, when the opportunity shows itself where you have to be there for somebody, or, you know, you have to support somebody through something, like, be there, bro. Like, and don't be afraid to be like, dog, like, whatever, like, because I feel like so many people try, and especially men, like, with us, like, we know we don't have, like, we don't have no voice in this, in like a support or, like, kind of decision making on it.
Some definitely think they do,
but more of like getting those opinions from our moms, getting those opinions from those women in our life, and then being able to take their advice and be able to help people of our age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that we also want to talk about it because it's important. I want to give an outlet for people who, you know, want to talk about it. They want to hear people talk about it. They want to hear people be upset about it. They want someone to be doing something. And obviously, you know, our reach is only so far, but every bit matters. And I think that this is something that is extremely important in my life, for a lot of reasons that we'll kind of dive into. With that, I think that there's a lot of places we can kind of start. But I think that there's two sides of the story, right? So there are people who are upset about two things, and this is what I've noticed from the talks that I've had, is there are people who are really upset and saying that men should have no say in this, which is true. Everybody agrees. Okay, not everybody, clearly, but you know, for the most part, people agree. The majority vote for public America was a 57%, I believe, on this should not be overturned. That men should not have a say in this is basically what I'm getting to, is that most people agree men don't have a say in women's bodies, nor should they, because it's not our fucking business, and they're not objects to be regulated. They're not things we can't control. It's not like you're getting a Rottweiler.
Yeah, they're fucking human beings, dog.
Yeah. Not only that, but then the other side of the coin, which I heard today especially, is that religion has no place. Is that the separation of church and state is not real, which is something that I've said for a long time.
Yeah, bro.
And I also we should preface this. Brendan and I don't talk politics. I think this is the first time we've ever talked politics together on a non-surface level of, like, me look at him and say, gays are okay, yeah?
Yeah.
And that's not even something that should be political, but it is now.
Yeah, and, like, for me, because my thing with politics is, like, it's a whole bunch of old-ass white men that don't give a fuck about America anyway. They just kind of see how they shit is, like, to them. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of old-ass people in there. And that shit is rigged anyways. Because even with the senators, even with everybody who goes on camera and in public and says what they do, there's also people who we have no idea are pulling strings behind them.
You know what's crazy?
It's so corrupt in that bitch.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of the old-ass white men, did you know that Biden tweeted out saying that this was a travesty and that he, like, this is steps back for America and stuff? Dog, you're the president.
Yeah.
Do something about it.
Yeah. That shit's crazy. And then Trump went out and was like, this was a huge victory, yada, yada, this. And then I said, wow, the two people who have been in control of our country, one who's not doing shit, the other one who wanted this to happen, we're fucked.
Biden is also the oldest president ever elected, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but we knew we were fucked off rip.
Yeah, I mean, No kidding.
After Trump, it was like, could it get any worse? Let's see what this guy can do. You know what I mean? Like,
anyway, men should have no say in a woman's body, and I don't think that's something that we really need to harp on a long time because it's fucking obvious. Here's the deal. And this is such a good point, if it was a law against men, if it was that now all men have to get their dicks chopped off,
or a vasectomy.
No, because a vasectomy can be undone.
Swear.
Yeah.
I thought once you got that bitch, it was wraps.
No. Vasectomies can be undone. So if they got castrated, which is the removal of the genitalia, then this would be a completely different game.
Yeah, bro. Motherfuckers would start rioting.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, motherfuckers would storm the Capitol again, like with guns.
Again.
Shit.
Yeah, no kidding. Speaking of
fucking psychos.
The Capitol. So whenever this happened, whenever the hearing was happening, there were police in riot gear outside of the Capitol, or the building.
Mm-hmm.
If you are at a point where you have to have police in riot gear when you are making this type of decision because you're scared of riots,
you're probably not making the right decision.
Yeah, probably not the one that America wants.
Like,
and that's what they all say, is that this is what America wants. This is for the people. This isn't the people.
This is for the old white people.
This is for the people who need to feel like they're in power still. Because that's what it's all about, is control.
Yeah, bro, you got a bunch of 80-year-old motherfuckers who dicks probably don't even get up no more and fucking making decisions on not only the younger generations, but trying to regulate women's body, which is fucking insane.
The federal government pours more money into Viagra than it does Planned Parenthood, I'm pretty sure.
Which is insane. And also with the fact that we not only have formula shortages on the shelves, we have diaper shortages on the shelves.
Can't even raise a kid.
They are saying we're gonna force you into parenthood, but you can't buy none of this shit to fucking raise the kid. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind.
So what does cutting off abortions effectively mean? What does that equate to here in America? Obviously, also in this podcast, you're going to hear me talking a bit more because I'm the one who has all the facts like in front of me.
Yeah. I'm kind of just here for like the back and forth
commentary.
Yeah, and kind of just back and forth. My man Jaxon is the one with the like real knowledge on it. And just because, like I said, like kind of like how we said before, we have no opinion on it. So for me, it's just kind of like,
if you're not a big fan of my voice, that sucks for this episode.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and go back and forth and try and just throw it in there a little bit.
But what is, and you obviously have some idea because we just talked about it even, of what is making abortions a legal effect?
Fucking forcing people into fucking parenthood when people aren't ready. Like, even when it comes to like, there are obviously those instances where it's rape, incest, and like very serious traumatic like instances, and those situations are,
and we'll kind of touch on that a little bit later.
Yeah,
that's something I don't want to hit yet.
Yeah, and those situations are, obviously bigger than what you could ever imagine type thing. But also when people make mistakes in not having safe sex and turning out to be pregnant, and then they go, oh shit, I'm only 17, I'm only 18. Like, nah, but forcing people who aren't ready, you know what I mean? Because like, bro, no one's ready to be a fucking parent, dog. Bringing another life into this world is insane to think about, you know what I mean? And there are people who are fucking almost in their 30s who can barely take care of themselves. And now if they end up fucking up and, whether it be younger or older, if they, make a mistake and they become pregnant, you're telling me that they have no option, they have no choice but to become a parent? Like, fuck you, dog.
Yeah, and I also target this question to the fact that abortions are also ways to save lives. There are miscarriages, there are, late affects to being pregnant that can sometimes result in the death of the mother if there is not an abortion. if the child is not removed.
Yeah, like we heard earlier, you know, with my aunt, and she had spoken on, you know, sometimes they get lodged in the tubes, or you know,
Yeah,
like things happen within with the woman's body. There's so many different things that could happen within the, you know, pregnancy, and if that baby isn't removed or the pregnancy isn't terminated, that woman's gonna die.
Yeah.
So now you're basically telling somebody, because you're pregnant and you might die, you have to die.
Yeah. And
at that point, like, what if the kid doesn't make it too? So what, you just basically killed two people for what?
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, that shit's insane to me, bro.
There's also to take into account when you have a kid, your circumstance is so intensely like determined by this, of like, if you are, what age are you, how are you doing financially, what are your, like, where are you in your addiction life, like, you know, there are thousands of things that
there's so many variables.
Yeah, there's so many. And the the child services that we have here in America, like foster homes and stuff, are failing.
Dog shit.
Yeah, they are bad. I think it's something, and this one I don't have pulled up, I think it's something like 15% of foster kids are graduate. 15% of foster kids do graduate high school, and 8% graduate college.
Which is insane, bro, because like there's two faults to that, because a lot of the people in the foster homes, you see so many horror stories of people dealing with like just traumatic ass shit.
Yeah.
And two, there's not even close the amount of funding that needs to go into fostering and helping people out with adoptions. Like,
yeah, they just get cycled.
They just get cycled, dog. Like, if one person can't, quote unquote, fix a kid, or there's something wrong with the kid, they toss him to the next one until he turns 18, and then what? They're out on the street?
Yeah. Which also does bring you the fact that, like, this is a good way to increase homeless population. We already have an overpopulation issue, and a housing issue.
Most major cities look like Skid Row already.
Yeah, like there's so many problems that we have with overpopulation and housing issues and everything. And now you're wanting to bring more people into it and force more people into it. Not only that, but people who aren't ready. The idea of somebody going, abortion is not an easy choice. And obviously I don't know that. I can never know or possibly conceive of what that decision consists of, because you are removing a part of you that you have nurtured even at like the small stages, and you have to live with that. And I imagine that tears you apart.
Yeah, bro. And like, I ain't even gonna lie, bro. I think it was like my senior year, or the year after my senior year, I had a close homie of mine who had to make the decision of terminating a pregnancy. Mm-hmm. And it was him and his girlfriend. And, you know, when he had told me, like, I didn't know what to think, bro, because, like, for me, like,
how do you make that call?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, how do you have that discussion with that other half and, you know, really, like, listen on what she wants to do? And even as a female, like, making that decision is like, damn, bro, like, obviously this is your life, but, like, you know, they made the call because they both knew they were not ready nor in the position to bring life into this world at a correct pace and be able to genuinely, like, give this kid a good life. You know what I mean? And they had that choice, and the fact that that choice is pulled away from them is, I couldn't even imagine if they had that kid right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And this is obviously nowhere near, but I remember back in high school, well, I was graduated at this point, but my girlfriend at the time, her and I had been having sex, and we were safe about it and everything. Good willy, good noodle.
Little hat on top.
Yeah, you know, cappers and all that. But she missed her period by like a week, which isn't out of the ordinary. She was under a lot of stress. Finals were coming up for university. A lot of stuff was happening that was very stressful, and that can cause you to miss.
Fluctuating and all that. Yeah.
So she like calls me in a panic, like I'm late by a week. Like I'm really scared. I'm like, okay, well, we can go get a pregnancy test, but most pregnancy tests don't really turn a result that is accurate until a week to 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So we were kind of hitting that point of like, okay, now we could probably get a test, like, you know, in the next day or two. And for the next 2 days, it was a discussion of like, okay, what are we doing? And both of us agreed, like, neither of us are in a position to raise a kid. And so this was an actual conversation that we had of like, is this something you're okay with? And there was a point in the conversation that she looked at me and said like, are you okay with this? Like, is this something you'll be able to live with? And I said, I'll get on just fine. You're the one that's going to go through a lot more.
Bro, post-mortem.
Not post-mortem. That's different.
Is that not it? What's it called?
Like the post-pregnancy depression.
Bro.
Separation issues.
I cannot even imagine.
I can't remember what it's called. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm
separation issues is a bad term.
I'm sorry for the correct or incorrect terms. But the fact that it is proven that when a woman loses a child, they go through so much trauma and like emotional damage, it genuinely fucks them up. And I couldn't even imagine like having to go through that.
And, you know, this is coming from somebody who has lost a lot of people in my life. You know, I've lost friends to suicide. I've lost friends to car accidents. You know, I've lost friends in family to awful things. And still, I think about that every now and then of like, what if? How does she make that decision, and how do I be there and support that?
Yeah, like my mom.
And not in the sense of like, I think abortion's dog shit. I mean in the sense of like, how do I support that by like, how do I support her? How do you
help them?
That?
Yeah, how do you help them through that? Because there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like even with my mom, like before my older brother, she had a miscarriage with her previous relationship that she was in, and he's still, you know, buried in I want to say it's like a beach area, like a port area in New York. And whenever she goes out there, you know, she tries to make it a thing to go visit him. You know what I mean? And
never leaves you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that was technically her first child, you know, and it's, you know, hearing my mom like slowly kind of open about it up over the years, like I slowly have grasped the idea and kind of wrapped my head around like, bro, I couldn't even imagine what that felt like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to pivot us a little bit. I want to talk about how the government really shouldn't have a say in this, and the fact that they do this small selection of people. So Roe V Wade has been in effect for 50 years, up until now. With that being said, the original vote was 7-2, 7 in favor, 2 against. Mm-hmm. This time it was 5-4. 5 against, 4-4. I believe that I'm right on that. And one, that's a staggering difference because this was introduced in 1973, a non-progressive time, all things considered, like, especially for women.
Yeah, like a lot of shit is still wrong with human beings in 1973, but they go, hey, that's not our choice. That's up to you guys.
Majority.
You're telling me in 1973, with all the fucking wrong shit that was going and bad shit happening with America, they knew that it was not their fucking choice. And now in 2022,
we almost have a 50-50.
Yeah, you got to be fucking kidding me. That shit is ridiculous.
60-40, I guess, is what we're actually at.
Which is...
This completely contradicts the whole concept of democracy.
Yeah.
So, for those who, for some reason, need me to define this for you, democracy is the act of pooling votes or pooling a group identification or that group opinion.
The people have the right to vote and have a voice in what goes on in their country.
Not even just relating to country, but like, democracy in general is the concept of a group's decision with the most popular, the most agreed upon decision being the one taken.
Which is no longer what's happening in America.
And it hasn't been for a while.
Yeah.
To be fair. Even technically through our presidential vote system, it is not the most popular. We've seen time and time again, popular vote loses.
Yeah, and kind of going back to, these, 9 group of people who basically make judgments at this point based off of their own fucking opinions.
Yeah.
And however the fuck they feel. Obviously, it blows my mind because I think I saw something about, is she a senator, AOC? Or is she a senator, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so she had called out 2 of the other senators on lying under oath and called for them to be impeached because they said under oath that they felt a certain way about Roe v. Wade.
They said that Roe v. Wade will not be touched.
Yeah.
And it's not their position to touch it or something like that.
Yeah, and then they come out and completely vote to overturn it, and, we've kind of have seen government, let alone people in power, show how corrupt they are and still continue to get away with it. And I feel like this was just another kind of...
What I don't understand is also something that affects such a large population of America. It affects everyone. In some form or another, this affects everyone, but mostly it affects women. Of course, it is the big thing is that it affects women, which also I think is the majority of our population in America.
Yeah.
How the fuck are we going to call it democracy when this isn't even set to a vote? This is 9 people determining.
With majority men, I'm pretty sure, on that board.
Yes. What happens to a whole nation of people and what they can do with their lives. And this isn't like we sent out feelers and votes to everybody and everybody had a chance to vote in a ballot for this. This is a couple fuckheads get to choose
and tell people what's
who
happening.
Are already out the door. They are already 2 steps from being
Seeing
dead as
Jesus.
a doornail. Yeah. And that's their fucking dream is seeing Jesus, because we're going to talk about getting fucking into religion here in a second.
Yeah. And I think it's also crazy to think about that, like, right now, currently in America, guns have looser fucking rights than fucking...
Yeah, so a day before this vote, there was another hearing, and it was deciding whether or not to keep the right to bear arms as a federal jurisdiction.
Yeah, and
it was ruled to stay.
Yeah, so basically it's up to the states.
No. Right to bear arms is federal, so everybody maintains it. It is not up to the states.
Oh, okay.
So that means that the court ruled guns, we tell them you're good.
Which is fucking
But
insane.
abortions, no.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Do whatever the fuck you want.
I've seen so many posts and so many different people saying that the fact that they can go to the store and buy an AR, but they can't decide...
Buy Plan B, effectively.
Yeah, or they can't, decide on what goes on with their body is fucking insane, considering the amount of mass shootings we had in a week span, 2-week span after, is it Uvalde?
I think so. I don't have the statistics for mass shootings because it wasn't.
No, you're good, but it's just more like, I think it was just this year before or like after Uvalde had happened. Just this year, we've had like damn near 300 mass shootings.
Yeah. I know that part's true.
In elementary schools, which is fucking insane to me. You know what I mean? And it blows my mind that our regulations are focused on controlling women's bodies rather than controlling the mass violence that is happening. And you expect us to fucking bring children into this world when you can't even control somebody with a fucking gun.
Yeah, I think that there was a quote, and it was along the lines, and I'm going to butcher it, but it was along the lines of, you force me to have children, but you can't even protect them when they go to recess.
Yeah. This shit is fucking insane.
Or
like,
you can't guarantee that I see them when they go to recess.
And there was another Republican lady who had come out and was like, we had made a great victory. to save life or make life safer, just as they are in school. And I was like, bro, that did not fucking settle well, dog, because they're not safe, and they're more safe at fucking home with their parents than they are at school right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you go to any normal fucking elementary school, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna see a 75-year-old fucking old man with a little taser or something like that. Not even a taser, like a little fucking baton. Are you fucking kidding me? What is Greg from?
What is Paul Blart?
Yeah, Paul Blart, 75-year-old fucking mall cop. You know what I mean? Gonna do what to do with a fucking semi-automatic AR-15 with FMJ in it, bro. Like, there's no fucking shot. That shit fucking blows my mind.
I want to talk about a little bit the circumstance of pregnancy and how it can also impact the abortion process. And this is where it gets a little bit more heavy, I should say, because there is that level of, like, if a woman is raped and forced into sex and then gets pregnant and they cannot decide whether or not to keep this child. One, that's already a traumatic thing. That is a life-altering thing that has just happened to this person. This person who does in no sense deserves this.
No.
Has already had something life-altering happen to them.
Yeah, no one deserves to go through that, yeah.
You know, that makes waves. Not only that, but now they are in a position where if they don't feel like they can live with being constantly reminded of this thing that has happened to them, then they have to keep it.
Yeah, they're not forced into that. And not only that, but say if, you know, said rapist is convicted, right? And, you know, people think that that's justice. That rapist still has rights to that kid. So now you have to force that woman to go on a daily basis, or however, whatever the terms are, to go see her rapist, so that way that rapist can see their kid. Because 9 times out of 10, those rapists are that, like,
fucked up.
Yeah, that they're like, oh, I want to see my kid, yada yada, this and that.
Not only that, but you take into the account that, like, resentment forms. You know, if the mother, and obviously this is not to put blame on the lady at all, because that's not what I'm trying to say, but if we're talking realistically, it also can form really negative relationships with your child, which can lead to an abusive relationship or a neglectful relationship, which makes more fucked up people in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean?
And and that's not their fault, but also, like, it's a never-ending cycle at that point.
Yeah, and, you know, looking that child in the eyes, you either have someone who, you know, there are people who take it as like
this is not them.
Yeah, and you know, people take it as like you know, this is a blessing, and I'm gonna turn this human into a greater thing out of it.
Best thing they can be.
Yeah, you know, and then there are people who look at it and go, every time I look at this child, I'm reminded of what happened that day. You know what I mean? And you can't blame them for that.
No, not at all, because how would you avoid that? Like,
yeah, how are you gonna tell them that they're wrong? You know what I mean? When they get flashbacks every single time that their kid looks them in the fucking face.
Yeah, it's
a whole fucked up situation all the way around. And so the fact that you're now forcing people into, all right, now you have to deal with that. The government's not going to give people fucking help to be like, hey, we're going to help you through this. Or the government's not going to come out and be like, hey, we're going to help you raise your fucking kid. We're going to give you extra, you know, supplies or
not
do
to
this.
mention that I'm pretty sure that the charges for rape will be less damning or like less harsh than the charges for abortion.
Yeah, I think it's you get
which is insane.
You get charged with murder and up to 6 months in prison or some shit like that.
How the fuck is rape so chill?
Because most of our fucking old white men in power have
part of it.
Yeah, are a part of it. Let alone fucking traffic women and children.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about government. Let's talk about our government. The average president age is 60. Which is insane. You have to serve an amount of time to become a president. You have to be a certain year old. I think you have to be 40.
I thought it was 35.
It might be 35. But then you also have to serve a certain amount of time in government, which I think would basically put you at 40. by the time that you can realistically achieve
Yeah.
it. And the average age of a government worker varies drastically depending on the branch that you're in, depending on what you're doing and everything. Like, for example, the workforce for NASA is over 45 years old, which is weird, but also, like, of course.
Well, yeah, you have people who go to school for
The
astronaut shit for like years.
Department of Housing and Urban Development is 70% are over 45 years old. That means the people who determine how we're going to handle housing issues and like homeless issues are all over that age gap, statistically. And then, you know, it just kind of keeps going and gets worse. Effectively, in most government work sources for America, 17% of the workers are under the age of 35. 17% are people who have realistic standards of what has happened in this world in the past 20 years.
And has an open mind enough to fucking look at everything from a big picture standpoint and look at everything as like, yo, these are fucking human beings, not robots.
And 1/4 of the government is now older than 55.
Yeah, bro. And it there's so much that goes into it because you have people who are like, you know, you have these younger people who try and make a name for themselves, or, you know, they try and do something and it's almost like, oh, they're just a young kid. Like, what do they know?
And don't get it twisted. This doesn't boil down to whether or not old people are dumb, young people are smart, because that's not. It's,
there's old people definitely obviously have the like that wisdom and experience of life, but also in the same sense, there's so many different older people who still think that it's fucking 1980, 1990, the older people who are now in fucking senators, they are damn near 80 years old, but they were born in the fucking 60s, dog.
earlier.
50s when America was
Prohibition.
fucked. Like fucked, bro. Like the shit that we learn about, you know what I mean? Like these people went through all that shit and they still think that the world is in that era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you have to fucking get in a Flintstones car, you shouldn't be in government.
Literally, bro. Like what the fuck, dog?
You know,
and the fact that, you know, they think that like, oh, they're wise, they know better, elder. The whole respect your elders thing. All right, bro. Let me start this off real quick. The whole respect your elders thing, dog. I hate that shit, bro. Because for me, respect goes both ways, whether you're older than me or younger than me.
Respect is earned.
Yeah, bro. Like, to be honest, I don't give a fuck if you have the Medal of Honor from whatever fucking president, dog. Dude, fucking kudos to you, dog. I'm trying to gauge for myself on whether or not you're a good fucking human being, and that's what most people should do. You know what I mean? It is like, it just blows my mind how they're so stuck in ways and that people aren't open-minded. Like people who are so narrow-minded and stuck in old ways, and like
it's not even just that. It's the fact that like you and I went through a time period where we can realistically say we were scared to go to school at some point because we weren't sure if we would come home because of a school shooting.
Yeah,
I've been in multiple lockdown scenarios.
Dude, that shit is terrifying.
That has not happened to most of these people. That is the reality that we live in, is the things that are happening, the social media, the everything, the way the world works and operates now, these people do not live in because they are steps back. And it's not a matter of whether or not they are alive presently. It is the matter that time moves on, and sometimes at a point you reach a spot where you just don't keep up.
Yeah, bro.
Your
like,
mindset can't evolve all the time.
And it's to a point where it's like we, like you said, have slowly watched school. Like when we start school, you used to only go through a fire drill once, maybe twice a year. There's probably at least 2 to 3 lockdown drills on what happens if a school shooting happens a quarter.
Yep.
Which is like what, maybe 3 or 4 months out of the school year. There's 4 quarters.
3 months.
So 3 months, yeah.
Sometimes 2.5.
There's probably a solid 1, 2, possibly 3, you know, lockdown drill.
Every month or 2.
Yeah. You know, where they're like, hey, this is what happens if someone comes shooting into the school. and you have to look your kids and prepare themselves for that, and then what? Just hope for the best that that shooter doesn't come into that fucking classroom.
We all learn the Pledge of Allegiance, right? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Yeah, all that bullshit.
There's an end part, which is we are all entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What does life entail if every waking step you are told what you can and can't do? It is not the pursuit of happiness, because this doesn't make me happy. This isn't liberty. I'm not liberated from anything. These people, women are being put in shackles by our government because they feel like this is a bad thing. Let's talk really quick about,
because like you're now putting, like we said earlier, you're now putting women's health at risk. Like because
not even just that. I want to hone in a little bit on what the main argument is for people who are anti-abortion, which is you are killing a thing.
To them, it's like you're killing an innocent life.
Yeah, so here's what I always think about every time that this happens, right? Whoops. I think about, usually what they say is, you're killing an innocent life. That could be the next Albert Einstein. That could be the next Steve Jobs, which Steve Jobs was an awful person. Legacy's great. Anyway, that's the next Bill Gates. You know, you're killing potential for the brightest mind in the world, the person who cures cancer. If that person is considering having an abortion, if that is even on the table, there is a reason for that. That usually means that they're not in a place to have a child, be it age or financial circumstances or, you know, the ability to raise a child, or the responsibility, the self-responsibility.
Or just simply the fact that they don't want a kid.
Yeah, and
like it's to a point where there, no matter the reasoning, there doesn't have to be a reasoning.
But here's the thing, this is just a counterclaim of like, if your mindset is that, then you need to understand the conditions that they will be raised in are not that of an ideal to put them in a position to be the brightest new mind.
Yeah,
and
bro.
I'm not saying, you know, gold doesn't come from dirt, but I am saying that if every step of the way you're kicked down because your life is falling apart and in shambles because you were forced into a thing, then that's not a very good sign.
Let alone a good life for a new child.
You know, I hate it here.
No, for real, bro. It's genuinely like, it's sad to be like, if you come out and, you know, I'm proud.
Land of the free.
Yeah, if you come out and I'm proud to be an American, yada yada, you should not be proud. I'm gonna say that.
Land
honestly.
of the free, but it comes with shackles.
Yeah, bro. Like they say that, you know, you have a right to freedom in the American dream. The American dream is these old fucks telling you whether or not you're worth something, or you can do something, or you have to be this way, you have to do this. That's what America has come to, and it's the most terrifying thing in the world to be able to. I've been saying it for probably years now, where the thought of bringing a woman into this world, like what my mom had said earlier, the thought of bringing a woman into this world has now increased 100 times fold.
Because I don't want them to experience that. I don't want my sister to experience that. I don't want.
Yeah, like how do you handle someone in your life, no matter who it is, coming to you telling you,
I don't have control of my own body.
Yeah, or, you know, having to sit them through like, you know, they're pregnant and they can't do anything about it. They have to have this kid. You know what I mean? And then from there, it's so many different scenarios and situations that go along with that. And it's just like the fact that they are now stripped of that is one of the probably biggest downfalls of America so far.
The Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thompson, after the approval, the overturn, said that this was a big win for America and this was the next step forward. He also then followed up by saying that the next thing that they should reconsider while they're on this table is gay rights contraception rulings, and that they should be overturned following the Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, if you were out at any of the Pride, the Pride rallies and the protests and stuff like that, whether it be in San Fran, I'm pretty sure there was one out here in Arizona. I knew somebody who was out in the New Mexico one. I don't know if you saw any clips, bro, but shit got violent, bro.
There was a U-Haul truck full of white males.
Yeah, white supremacy males that like neo-Nazis or something like that, and they all got arrested out in Utah, Oregon, one of those.
One of those two.
And yeah, there was a picture of like 23 white males all on their knees in handcuffs.
And that's only because they got tipped off somehow. There was a way to tell that it was happening.
Yeah, and it wasn't the first time that group had and protested something.
And they'll just walk away. They'll just get to walk.
Yeah, they'll get a slap on the wrist, and
the intent to cause harm means jack shit if it means that it's white men or white people, period, carrying guns who hoorah, love America, and just want to shoot the gays away.
Yeah, and it's like, bro, if you were out there at any of the Pride rallies, like, and you made it back home alive without any injuries, like, I'm very happy for you, but also the people who got hurt out there, like, dog, like my respect for people who stood there and kept going and, screaming and, showing their voice and their strength, like that shit, it's... For me, it's horrifying, dog.
It's really tough because this part hits home. My mom has been gay, obviously her whole life, because that's kind of how it works. But, I've only known her as that pretty much my whole life. And I think about the idea of like taking steps back. And obviously, like I also have one of my best friends is trans, and the idea that like these things can just be pulled away in a moment's notice because people who don't even have to live it really say so because of what they believe or because of whatever. It's like, you don't see it. You don't have to look at it if you don't like it. There are thousands of ways to avoid this being a problem in your life directly. But you deciding that it's not okay, you deciding that, someone who needs an abortion can't have one, someone who wants an abortion can't have one, you deciding that a gay person can't get married or take care of one another, because that is a problem.
And not only that, but when you chalk it up to some fucking old ass book that's been fucking transcribed 17 different times by a bunch of different fucking people, bro, like, go suck a dick, dog. Grow the fuck up.
That affects my life.
Like, grow the fuck up, dog. In my opinion, bro, there's so many people. Like, there was this newscaster who came out, and she basically told, like, she was like, I understand if you're a Christian. She was like, I understand if you believe in the Bible and that's your whole moral thing. She was like, but also in the same sense, I don't give a fuck that you're a Christian. I don't care about your Bible, and I don't care about what it says because it doesn't apply to me. You know what I mean? So when you start throwing and forcing things down people's throat like that because that's what you believe in, you're a piece of shit, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you are. And if you are so scared of damnation, then fucking stay away from it.
Yeah, bro.
Like, don't tell me, and don't tell the people that I love that they're going to get something and that they have to do this because you say so, just because of what you're afraid of, or because you want to use religion as a really fucking good scapegoat for misogyny. Don't use it as you being a bigot. Don't use it as an scapegoat for anything. Just fucking own it. Be the bigot that you are. Be whatever the fuck miserable piece of shit you are, because it only affects your life.
Yeah, bro. And it's
but whenever you make those decisions, whenever they go and they turn these tides, they do all this shit. That's my life.
And that shit fucking kills me, because there's a line that comes with, all right, dog, if you're raised a certain way and you believe a certain thing, cool. Go about it in a respectful manner. I have had people in my life where I have seen them handle, maybe they don't believe in gay people or, the right to be able to love another of the same sex. Cool, but I've also seen them handle that in such a respectful manner, and I've told someone, I respect you as a human being, I just don't respect your ways. But then again, it's none of my business. Because
I don't have to live with it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Those aren't their decisions. That's not their life that they have to live with. And some of those people, like when you see someone who can genuinely not agree with someone's like morals and what they believe in, yet still be able to respect them as a human being based off of who they are, those people end up turning out to be fucking dope-ass friends or good-ass people. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the same thing as like seeing PDA. Seeing public displays of affection. Whenever you see two people making out, getting down and dirty, like obviously nobody wants to fucking see that.
Yeah.
But you just turn your head away and keep walking.
Yeah, bro. And like the fact that like, if you see someone, if they're not genuinely like causing you any harm, which not probably 100% of people who are women, trans, LGBTQ, like 10 times out of 10, their goal isn't to fucking, I'm going to annoy the shit out of someone so I can start some beef today. They're simple human beings who just want to go about their fucking life and live their life peacefully without someone telling them what they can and can't do and how they should be living their life.
Obviously, we talked kind of about a lot, and I really do think that there's a lot that we kind of hit on that was also a little off topic from the main bit, but I think it all kind of intertwines of where do we go from here? What does this mean? And
how dark and fucked up is America going to get before something changes?
At the end of the day, I think both of us agree that like it is not it shouldn't be the government's, it shouldn't be men's, it shouldn't be anybody's decision on what you are allowed to do with your body and what you need to do with your body. Because that's what it boils down to. And your religion shouldn't impact that, and nothing should impact your safety or your comfort and your ability to live your life the way that you want. And it's tragic that we are where we are right now. And my heart goes out to all of everybody who's affected by this, and know that you have people standing right beside you.
Yeah, the heart goes out to all the women, because like, even, we talked about trans people who are able to, make that change and still produce kids. Like, now those people are affected. You know what I mean? And they've been already neglected and affected becoming trans or, being trans from jump. Like you said, how that works, and like knowing that they are this person in their head, in soul, that they are this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now going into that, you're going to add another layer of shackles of, all right, now you have to go through this too. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many people who are affected. Like you said, bro, like our hearts go out to you guys. Like, and by all means, like, if you have a certain, feedback, if you have any voice, if you have any type of feeling and you feel like you haven't been heard, like, drop it here. Let us know.
Let your government know.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Fucking do something. And like I said earlier, bro, like, we got to start loving our people, bro.
Be a good fucking person.
Yeah, bro. Be a good human being, bro. Be there for your people.
Otherwise, this is normally the point when we would come up for air. But I think both of us agree that it's not really the place for us to try and make light of or
try and switch the the vibe, or this is a very serious topic and it means a lot, obviously, to both of us. And we kind of want to leave off on like you pondering and thinking about it.
And so what better of people to hear than from women themselves who want to talk about it? And so we both have gotten a couple interviews from the people around us, and you'll be hearing from them as the sign off. So until next time, guys.
Love you guys.
Be a good fucking human being.
And
see you next Wednesday.
Yeah.
I am disgusted and heartbroken by the decision to overturn Roe v Wade. As a social worker who has dedicated her life to working with kids ranging in age from birth to 21, I have seen firsthand the impact that has had on youth who have been exposed to things including but not limited to generational trauma, abuse, substance use, domestic violence, loss of a parent, incarceration, poverty, placement in foster care, and neglect. I have witnessed firsthand what the relationship or lack thereof can look like for a parent who is forced to birth a child who is the product of rape. I've witnessed firsthand what the effects are on a child whose parent openly admits to not wanting them. I've witnessed firsthand the effects on a child whose parent disowns them because they don't support their gender or sexual identity. I've witnessed firsthand the effects on a child whose caregiver did not have access to the appropriate care resources. Unfortunately, throughout my career, I've had to grapple with the fact that even with the right resources and a plethora of formal supports, that this damage can be so extensive that these children are moved from home to home, repeatedly hospitalized, and or institutionalized because even with the available supports, it is not enough. I've watched as the system has failed these children time and time again. Forcing women to birth children against their will may guarantee life, but it will not guarantee quality of life. And that is the unfortunate truth that I see so vividly on a daily basis. But that's not all. I had a miscarriage in 2021 and was given the choice to try and patch the tissue naturally or to take misoprostol. I chose the misoprostol. I became all too familiar with the risks of hemorrhaging, the amount of time it could take, and was told that if I was unable to pass all the tissue, I would require surgery to ensure my safety and well-being in the hopes that we would be able to try again. By medical terms, I took an abortion pill, and I'm acutely aware of how different that experience could have looked in another state had it happened now. Following that miscarriage, we went on to try IVF because I have a genetic condition that makes me susceptible to recurrent miscarriage. We used genetic testing during this process to give us the best chance at having healthy pregnancies that resulted in healthy children. This year, we were surprised to learn that I got pregnant naturally, and we're hoping to meet our little girl in September. I can say without hesitation that I am terrified for the world that she will be expected to grow up in. I am terrified that the freedom to carry a firearm is more fiercely guarded than her right to bodily autonomy. I am terrified that a medical condition that I have no control over can place me at risk for legal ramifications when and if we decide to grow our family. I am terrified that people in this nation are willing to force birth without providing the resources, care, and empathy needed to actually support life. The only thing that I can say I'm grateful for at this point in time is that we live in a state that provides me that right.
Okay, because I've seen viewpoints all over the internet in general, just like since everything has happened and since it was first leaked in general. So I feel like I've got a lot of, I don't know,
Perspective.
Yeah, totally a lot of perspective. And I have, my biggest thing, is that it's just kind of like my first thought was just a lot of anger, and a lot of frustration, and the fact that this is like such a huge step backwards for women, for anyone a part of like the LGBTQ community, for literally anyone with a uterus. It's just a huge step backward for mankind in America. It's not something I am surprised by, just in the state of the country that we live in. Yeah, I guess super frustrating, but I think also one thing that I have taken out of this and all of my frustration, and just like the fact that this is, everyone knows how it's all over everywhere, how terrible everything is, and like I don't know that I have to keep speaking on like the complete violation that it is in general, and how many people are gonna like truly die from like ectopic pregnancies, and like the transgender youth there's gonna be like huge spikes in like transgender youth not feeling like they can be themselves enough, to keep living, and that's terrible, so scary. There's going to be abortions that are done wrong, that are going to result in women losing their lives. You're going to spend more time in jail for an abortion than you are for raping a woman, and that's ridiculous. Like, it's just disgusting. As a collective, in order to like truly fight this and be able to kind of like transcend past all of this, we've got to kind of vibrate at a higher level of becoming like the wise woman, is what one of the like a few people I've seen that are more spiritual talk about, and kind of like understand our cycles, understand what it is for a woman to like be able to create life. So much of what is not taught, and learn from like a high, like a higher vibrational level. They want us to be in this like fear and anger place, and it's really, really hard not to be, because it's kind of scary what's happening. But if we can kind of elevate our mindset and kind of try to be in a place vibrationally of able to change things, I think that's the only way that we'll be able to win or beat anything out of this. But like advocates for like women, helping women constantly, like advocates for each other, doing whatever we have to, not stopping talking about it, like as much as they want to silence things in school and silence things in public situations, like not be quiet about it, but also like take the power back, like learn about our own bodies so much that we don't need these tracking apps that they're going to be able to follow us on. We don't need to like let anyone, but like we need to take the power back into our own bodies, and then through that, the biggest thing I think is like kind of what you're doing, like being willing to listen and be supportive and not act like women are overreacting for like losing such huge rights to their body. And it's like women as a collective are hurting, because even if I live in a state where abortion is legal and I have more rights over my body, there's women in other states who don't. And I feel like there's like, as a collective, we're hurting for all of the women who can't uproot their lives to move to a state where they're able to successfully get an abortion. And in a lot of cases with those ectopic pregnancies, like you don't have enough time. Like it's quick, like you find out you need to have an abortion or you and the child will die. So you're dead. Like there's no baby after that. A huge part of me is not sure I want to raise a child in this country. Like the way that things are going, I don't want to be, I don't know. I saw one girl that was talking about like she's already moved up to America, but the Handmaid's Tale that came out, that whenever they have flashbacks to what life was like before that, like how long would you be willing to push, like at what point in Handmaid's Tale would you have been like, I need to leave this country, like this is getting ridiculous, and it's like playing out in front of us, and I'm like mentally like, at what point is it not worth it? Like being here is not worth losing the right to my body. That's just crazy. Religion is so fucked up for this. Like it's just crazy. The fact that you can call anything like like they're just being super shady and doing all of this terrible shit, and they just call it religion. And the second you say anything's religion, people will back you up on it, because no one,
scapegoat.
Yeah. It's like how many people are just blindly following whatever religion they say that they are from what their parents told them, like you've not decided to do the work and kind of figure out where you actually fall on it, and you're like, oh, just blindly a Christian, and then all of a sudden you've lost all your rights. I don't know. It's just stupid.
Sad. Terrified. I'm terrified. I think it's the beginning of something bad.
One of the issues, I mean, not everybody believes in Christian God, and you can't just force everybody to follow what you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't even count for rape and incest, or a woman choosing if she wants to live or not, that's wrong. Any way you slice it. But I think one of the major issues that we're going to see that's going to come relatively quickly is we don't have any, you have one party that's for social programs and you have another party that's against social programs. The problem with that is you aren't going to allow for abortions, so there's going to be a lot of babies in the adoption and foster system. We have a horrible foster system. It's gross. It's not well done. I don't know how to fix it, but it needs to be fixed. And then it's a cycle of poverty. And then you're creating more of the poverty that you won't pay for social programs for. So that all these kids turn into adults, and then you're going to go after them because they aren't educated the way they're supposed to be, and they're not, part of society the way that they believe. If you just work harder, all you got to do is just work harder, and then then you get everything in life. That's not true, and I'm sick of hearing it. So, besides taking my rights away, which is awful, and because of that, what we're supposed to do is not impede on others' happiness. If I'm not impeding on your happiness, then you're not going to care. And if you're not impeding on my happiness, then we can all just live together. My being lesbian does not impede on anybody's happiness. I'm not doing that in your house. You don't know me. I'm not impeding on your happiness, but you are on mine when you try to take my rights away. So I just feel like this is a really sad, horrible thing, and I don't know. I'm hoping your generation can save everybody, because we definitely couldn't. We screwed it all up. I worry about Planned Parenthood that we're losing all over the place for teenage girls that need birth control or the ability to go to the doctor. You're not going to have children. You're going to have children that are going to have sex. You're not going to stop it. It's never going to stop. They've never been able to stop it. Telling somebody to just not have sex doesn't work. So I don't know what they're gonna do. And then if they take contraception away, which is what I've heard is something that Clarence Thomas
Tons
brought
of
up.
teen pregnancy.
Tons. And I think it's separation of church and state is a big issue. I think that we have conservative judges that care about their religion more than the Constitution and the law, and they care about conservative values more than following their oath. That's what I personally believe. I don't trust the Supreme Court anymore, and I don't know. I'm angry. What's next? That's not going to be anything against men, so don't worry. Do you know there's $72 million that our government pays for Viagra for men? $72 million. Not everybody is Christian in this country. And just because it's under God, it doesn't mean it's your God.
I have a little bit different angle that I've been kind of trying to help this homeless woman who lives down the street, and I talk to her every other day. I stop and talk to her, and she talks to me about how often she's attacked being on the street, and we have this huge homeless problem. What are you going to do with all those people that are attacked and raped, and how are they going to be able to take care of a baby born on the street, or when they can't get an abortion, something they don't want? It ruins their life. Their life is already hard enough. So.
And what about the drug babies?
And then all the babies that people are not going to be lined up to adopt. Babies that are addicted to meth, addicted to all different types of drugs. Nobody wants those kids. So what happens to them? I don't think anybody wants to go out and have an abortion. It's not like it's not a happy decision for anybody. There's a lot of reasons why people do it. And ultimately, though, it shouldn't matter. You don't have the right to tell somebody what they can do. Why is a man not as responsible for this? What's going to happen to men? Are they going to have to step up? Do they have to pay for
getting arrested?
Taking care of a baby?
I mean, like they've said most of it. I'm pissed. I'm sad. I'm frustrated. Like, there was a Freakonomics study that they did a while back, and I'm gonna probably butcher some of the facts, but basically there was all this crime in New York City in the 80s, and in the 90s suddenly like crime rates dropped dramatically, and they could not figure out what the cause of it was. There was nothing that was like directly affecting it. But one of the theories is that because in the 70s Roe versus Wade was passed, that all these kids that would have been born and would have been, you know, in their late teens, 20s at that time, were never born. So the crime rates dropped dramatically because of that. And again, that's just a theory, but like it feels like it matches up pretty.
It does.
So like this is just, it's not gonna change the amount of abortions people are having. It's been proven that outlawing abortion doesn't change that.
Yeah.
If you call yourself pro-life, then why are you ignoring the mass killings of, you know, kids in schools, people at grocery stores that are just minding their own business? Why are you okay with that and ignoring all that stuff? But babies that technically aren't really babies yet, that's where you draw the line.
They can't live without their mother.
You only care about people when they're in their mother's womb, and then as soon as they come out of it, you don't care at all. You leave them to fend for themselves.
And I'm not giving you any social programs either to help you.